how was 2015 for the Bahamas?
We came off of a very strong year in 2015. Stopover visitors increased. We're still compiling numbers, but there's definitely an increase in that. Cruise is consistent in the Bahamas. We're just blessed with our proximity and that it's a quick stop for most of the cruise lines from Florida. So really for us, the heat is on for us to top that in 2016. But it is good because we're all coming out of a recession. And so to have 2014 that ended strong, topped in 2015, it bodes well for the Bahamas. Airlift, we saw increased airlift, and airlift has been performing well. I'm delighted to say it's not just airlift into Nassau and New Providence, but also into our family islands, which is key. And we're also diversifying where the airlift is coming from. So I can speak about the Delta flights, direct flights from Atlanta into Marsh Harbor, Abaco, into North Eleuthera. They've performed so well. The Delta has increased the rotations 2 flights a week. They moved it up to 3 flights a week. And they say if the demand continues as it started, they will probably increase it further. So just so happy for those islands. This is a new sort of blood flowing in, and I think it can only get better after this.
We're reading that there may be some developments on the Baha Mar resort issue. What's the latest on it?
As we all know, we all just waiting anxiously for Baha Mar to open. It continues to sit there. It is beautiful, and we know that it's going to be such an added boost to our tourism product in the Bahamas. It is in the hands of receivers, but there have been so many expressions of interest from potential buyers. In fact, at the moment, there's one. It looks like a preferred buyer, the bank's preferred buyer. They have come back into the jurisdiction several times, carrying out their own due diligence. We do hope that there will be an announcement soon. But in the interim, the Inter-American Development Bank, they're holding their major conference in April, the first week of April at Baha Mar. And so the resort, certainly all the conference facilities are ready there to be open, to be used for this conference. And again, I would like to say, this is my personal view, that once people see it open to that level, that may be the impetus that's needed for it just to be opened in its entirety.
You spoke with Jamaica this morning, and they were looking at teaming up with Cuba to increase arrivals, certainly from the US, because that's where Cuba's numbers are really growing exponentially. There was a time that the Bahamas was used as that's a stopping point for people who wanted to find circuitous ways to and from Cuba. How are you looking to build that relationship?
Well, I must say that the Bahamas we're in a privileged position. We have a very good relationship with the Ministry of Tourism in Cuba. In fact, we had high-level meetings in Cuba with our minister and a delegation from the Ministry of Tourism over a year ago. And at that point, it was agreed that we would enter into a multi-destinational relationship of sorts. And so we're ahead of the game in the sense that we started working together to promote Cuba and the Bahamas as a multi-destinational twin city center vacation spot. So working through the Ministry of Tourism in Cuba, Havana, as well as Havana Tours, they're promoting the Bahamas as well. We've created a new unit just for this, headed by a really bright young man who's gone over to Cuba, has been working with his counterpart over there. We see it beyond the United States of America. We look at how do we benefit from increased airlift from Asia. We know that they have a direct flight coming from China soon, and we hope that people, when they travel from China to the Caribbean, they would want to take the opportunity to visit more than one island, to come that far. I know certainly when we go east, we always want to take in 2 or 3 stops, and we're thinking that the same must apply the other way around. Similarly, Europe, we know Europe has been very, very popular for Cuba, and we want to see how we can benefit as well from there. But you're right, the Bahamas has always been a hub. It's a way that North Americans have entered into Cuba. And one of the things Cuba said to us is that they will always remember their friends. They view the Caribbean as a whole, as a friend, and they view the Bahamas did allow passage into Cuba through Nassau. And so I hope this is the beginning of a long and fruitful relationship that's beneficial not only for the Bahamas but also for Cuba. What does Cuba get out of this? They feel that there is much they can learn. The Bahamas is a mature tourist destination, certainly when it comes to cruising, when it comes to yachting. So we're looking at how do we share our strengths. So we're in our areas of strength, we will lend assistance, and likewise. So good on Jamaica, but we saw it a little while ago and we got in the door and started working it.